Welcome back to this week's episode of Hand the Mic Over. I'm your host, Mevish, and this is part 2 of our 2-part series. As always, be sure to check out our Instagram for pictures from today's episode at Hand the Mic Over. Back to the episode.
There were a lot of fortunate events happened to us because of we're Syrian in Turkey. So we have to look similar to Turkish people so we don't face bad stuff.
Oh, was there discrimination there?
There were few Syrian people in Turkey would definitely know. Some racist people would kick me out of the bus seat, even the bus was empty, for example. So just because I'm Syrian because of my hijab. So we had to change the way we wear our hijab. So even in a safe place, we were seriously? And now you?
What? Was Turkey allowing Syrians to come in?
First a couple of years, we would travel normally to Turkey with no visa requirement, and their hospitality was absolutely amazing. I would never say something other than that. They accept us, and the highest amount of Syrian refugees now in Turkey. So a lot of Syrian people lived there and fled there. But after 5 years, a lot of problematic politics, they would have such completely wrong news about the government supporting Syrian people with the free rent and they pay their bills and something like that. Of course, if you say that to people in need of something, the people of this country will hate those refugees, right? But the thing is, it was a politics issues between two parties, and we were again the victims.
Sounds very similar to Canada.
Yes.
It's so sad that even a country that's literally neighboring your country and shares so much history and culture can still be discriminatory against people.
Yeah, that's why my dad, due to the bad financial support, the English barrier as well, it's not easy, especially for him after his experience. Absolutely, that would affect his health. And especially for his age, it was difficult for him just to let him, sit and learn a new language. It's not gonna be an easy job for him. So every once in a while, he would say I think we should pack and go back home, Syria.
Mm-hmm.
And we would prepare ourselves and we say goodbyes to our friends and everything. And they would give us the goodbye gifts even.
Oh.
And then we surprise them the next week. Oh, well, I think my dad changed his mind. Well, the pressure from my uncles was no, never, we were not allowing you. My uncles live in the US and Canada. So he would no, do not even think about going back. We don't want anything bad happen to you. So that's why my uncle in Canada did the papers so we can come here.
So for you, okay, so now back to you in Turkey. You kept thinking you're going to go to Syria and then plans would change and you would end up staying in Turkey, and eventually you graduated from high school there. Why did you suddenly have to go back and do it in Turkish?
Turkish government rule. They were so unsure on what to do with the Syrian people in Turkey, and every once in a while they would okay, we decided to do this, to do that. The way that exam was done, everything, the policy of exams, the way that the exam was organized was completely organized and run by Turkish Ministry of Education. We were already not used to this style of exam. They would exam all of subjects in one day at once.
Oh.
So we were why we're doing all subjects at once? And my brain will not even handle geography, math, chemistry, physics, English, French, Turkish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So such a tough exam, and we passed. But then they decided that we will not accept this kind of certificate or diploma. You have to do it in Turkish language.
Do you think that it was the same racism from before, but now in the school system as well?
Absolutely, yes. We were so pissed off from the way they treat us in general. If you're not sure what to do with us, you are government, and I know you accept a huge number of refugees. 100%. Why keep changing your initial plans to do this? And you are accepted to open Syrian schools in your country. What happened?
Yeah,
so definitely. It was a lot of confusion.
Do you know if other students who spoke Arabic with you also did this in Turkish? Because it sounds very hard to, first of all, do all those subjects all at once and then have to redo them in a different language.
Yeah, absolutely. It was tough. All of us, we were in a shock mode because we were happy that we graduated, and we even planned a graduation ceremony and everything, and we were super happy. And after a month from the ceremony, this news was out. So imagine the disappointment for all of my friends, that all of efforts where like we spent a year studying Arabic curriculum, like, and now you're asking us just to go and study your Turkish curriculum. That was nonsense.
So did all of your classmates end up doing that? I'm
Yeah.
like imagining myself in that situation. I don't know if I'd be able to do it.
People who are like good financially, they would just take this certificate and go for private university, which is very, very common in Turkey. All university here follow the government, Ministry of Education. But there were a lot of businesses with open universities, and they got the permission from the government that the degrees they taken from university is acceptable. So a lot of my friends who are good financially, they would like pay money and register in those private universities. But for me, even if my dad like would allow me to register at those kind of private universities, he would say it's not fair for your sister who graduating in 2 years or 1 year and your other sister. So we have to be fair with all of you guys. And I totally accept that. Like, so I had to do this. And then we heard about us going to Canada. So by then I stopped applying for scholarship. So I was like, at that point, okay, I stopped my education in general, just waiting for like the Canadian embassy to call us and invite us so we can have the interview and then we can travel to Canada.
This sounds like, again, another period of uncertainty in your life. Did you again have the same hope that, yes, you'll go to Canada, or were you unsure?
I was like kind of pretty sure because like the people who helped my uncle like kept supporting us financially, and I want to thank all of the team from the bottom of my heart because they were source of hope back then. So when they called us and check on us, they like support us even when we're in Turkey. They would support us financially and emotionally, mentally. Like, but when they gonna call us, like the embassy, we did not know, and that ended up being 2 years of waiting time, which we almost at the end we lost hope.
Wow. So,
Yeah.
what was your plan otherwise? Were you thinking of going back to Syria or just staying in Turkey?
We had several plans. Staying in Turkey was possible. Going back is also possible, but not that much because situation in Syria got worse year after year. We left around like 2014, and then the time we were talking about like 2016, 2015, that was the worst time for like my country. The military support from other country would came in, and the revolution was weaponized. So we had like a little chance to go back. Flighting to Egypt was also like on the plan. From my experience and Syrian people experience, the Egyptian people treat Syrian refugee the best. From here, I would thank all Egyptian for treating us nicely and treating us like human beings. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so sad that it's rare to see people treating people as humans.
Yeah.
When you were traveling to Canada, your papers came in, it was official, you were gonna move. Do you remember what was going through your mind or how you were feeling at that time?
So my initial struggles like in Turkey was not me like me not continuing my education and not me going to university. So I would cry every single night thinking that my education would like end at this point. I don't know why I was so obsessed of me continuing my education. Even now I was like, Sedra, you are not okay. But maybe like yeah, like for like my age back then, of course girls want to do is like continue their education, be successful, have passion, have future plans, you know. So having education, so I just pray hard just to get accepted from the Canadian government, accept us as a family, and just go there so I can continue my education. I would search universities and have such like a huge hope. So I was so excited. The day when they called us, oh my god, I was so happy. I was like, finally getting out of here because yes, in Turkey we as a family we spent a lovely time, but we did not achieve anything. You know what I mean? Like we did not move on. Life was frozen for us. We just like eat, go sleep, that's it. Wake up again. The same thing. I would not like do something, you know, meaningful. Well, one thing was like the best thing that I did in this 2 year of like not going to school or your university. I've read more than like hundreds and hundreds of books, from history to religious book to novels. I just spent all of my pocket money to purchase book and then just read. Even now, I cannot read the same as I used to do before.
I used to love reading, and I still do love reading, but I feel like life just got so busy that I don't always have time to read the way I did when I was younger.
100%. Like back then, I didn't have anything except like me helping my mama at home and then going to the grocery shopping.
Yeah.
But reading book was the only meaningful thing that I done in Turkey.
Okay. But also, you finished high school, you learned a new language, so I would say you have some more accomplishments too.
Yeah, but like I feel now I don't look at them as accomplishment because when I came here, I had to redo everything from the beginning. You know what I mean? So it was like
Yeah.
wasted. This is the way I think about my tiny achievement in Turkey.
So, when you were living in Turkey, did you think that when you come to Canada, you'll go straight to university, or did you know that you would end up having to go back to high school?
To be honest, I did not have like any idea. I 100% knew back then that I need to do the IELTS exam to test my English.
Mm-hmm.
And I was down to do it, but I'm more like a science person. So I was like, 2 years, Sedra. Are you sure you are confident to like just throw yourself in a first year science program? So I was like, I'm gonna go with my sisters to high school. And I've done the math, and that was the best decision I've ever made. Even though like I wasted another 2 years, that was really needed. I get to know like the Canadian culture, get to know like amazing friends like you, Mavish,
Oh.
and see how it works in Canada, if that makes sense. I was so excited. I think I studied like a crazy people in my first year of high school, and I was happy going to exam. Can you imagine that? Yeah, I was so excited. I felt like I was so like, thirsty to like learn, be part of a classroom, just do exam, answer a question. And by the way, all of the teachers were very like supportive. I remember the
Oh
biology
my
teacher.
god.
I
Did you
went
hear she retired?
I know, unfortunately. She was an amazing teacher. I love her. I don't know. And she was like very supportive for me and my sisters. I would ask her, can I use my phone for Google Translate so I can keep up of whatever you're saying? She's like, of course. Yeah. If you have any question, please come to me. So that was very like nice supporters in school, wherever I go. So I fell in love with Canadian people because in Turkey, no one would smile at your face. And the first week, me in Canada, I was like, people are waving, saying hi to me in the neighborhood. Wow.
Oh
No,
wow.
for real.
Wow, I mean, I had no idea that you were going through that at that point. I remember seeing you in school and I was like, oh, they're like three new sisters. And I thought you guys were triplets because you all looked so similar.
It was nice that one biology course, we were all three of us, and this was like, wow, I never had like three sisters on my course across like the 30 years that I taught.
That's amazing. Because you'd already learned English, but you mentioned you were using Google Translate. Did you have to take ESL classes or were you able to just enter the general stream?
No, I actually needed an ESL classes, mostly for writing skills. My writing skill were like really bad. For speaking, I would like watch YouTube videos when I was in Turkey, for example. I'm like, Grammarly, please fix my writing.
So, did you feel like you had a language barrier when you came here?
No, I was happy actually because Syrian people would study English since like first grade, and even kindergarten would like take care of English as a language. So we would be like it was manageable. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be afraid, for example, to return an item at like a store. But in Turkey, when I wanted like to pay a bill, we had to go to a specific place. I would be shaken while I was holding the bill because I was so nervous speaking that language. But I'm very familiar with English.
And we speak French too, so another familiar language.
No, I suck at French. So I wouldn't consider myself familiar with French much.
So, when you came to Toronto and you started settling here, did you feel like there was discrimination towards Syrian people? Maybe not as bad as in Turkey, but even in general, in the media, in person?
The only fear that I had on the plane going to Toronto was like me wearing hijab. I had no idea that there's like a Muslim population in Canada or like how it looks like for Muslim in Canada. I didn't have any idea. I was just like, I hope my hijab does not cause me a problem because I would never ever think about like taking off my hijab like to make other people like happy.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, okay, we'll see. When I first saw like a hijabi woman across the street from like the window of my like room, I was, oh my god, there's a hijabi crossing the street. I would look the first day in school. Oh, there's hijabi too. Oh, so I'm not alone. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it was really like normal. I'd had the fear because I didn't know. Once I lived here, like the second month of me being in Canada, someone of like the team who helped us come here, he recommended us to go to YMCA under NYLD program, just like newcomer youth leadership development. And we would do like a lot of volunteering events at senior center, at food banks, planning international youth day events, something like that. From there, like I got to know commuting across the city, and I got to meet Muskan for the first time. You know Muskan.
Yes.
So she was like my first friend here in Canada because we both were part of NYLD program. I think without this program, it would be like very hard.
So it sounds like you were able to get integrated into the community very early on.
Like, yeah, right away because of me being part of that program. Everyone like treat us like normal. Like the first few months, we were shocked. I was like, oh my god, they're like, I would accept like racism and waiting for racism from anyone, and I'll be ready for it. But that did not happen at all.
I'm so glad. I don't think I've ever seen you without a smile, and I'm so glad. You've lived in Syria, you lived in Turkey, and now you've lived in Toronto. What was something very different that you weren't expecting over here compared to your life in the Middle East?
Something that surprised me the most, like even to this moment, how life in here is going on a fast pace. And now even like involved in this fast paced life. For us, like we wake up in the morning, we don't just wake up and then eat quickly and then go work or school or whatever. Back home, we would drink our coffee nicely, we'd have a nice conversation and with families, and we'd go work, and it's like a couple of hours and then we'll come back. Here, life is so crazy. And what surprised me the most population would drink their coffee in like the subway. And now I'm one of those people too. People
Tim
don't even
Hortons.
have time to drink their coffee at home. You know what I mean? That like was
Yeah. Definitely, yeah. The hustle of the city. This is actually not the first time this is coming up on the podcast, too. I think several guests in the past have said the same thing, that it's just fast here.
Yeah, like when I think about my future, I was like, no, I don't want it to be involved in this kind of thing. I would live like in a peaceful countryside if this is like going to be my life in the future.
If you were to go back in time to little Sedra living in Syria or in Turkey during those moments where you felt like, your culture was not being accepted or you were uncertain about what's happening with your life, what would be some piece of advice that you would give your younger self?
Oh, that's a tough question. It's okay if you're a bit behind. It's okay. You can like at the end you will make it. That I would say to myself, because like me being like behind my friends in general and a lot of stuff, like just very tough for me, and always like kind of like nightmare following me. To be honest, now it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
As long as I make it happen. Like the difference between me and my friends now, my friends like for example have jobs, they are settled and they have everything. Like for me, I'm still like, for example, in university, trying still like to get my degree, and I'm planning to go for a master's. But that's fine. Everyone has their own life. Do not ever compare yourself to others. Yeah.
That is amazing advice. And I just want to say I am so proud of you, Sedra, to be here and in such a tough program. You're going above and beyond with research and everything. Like, it's amazing how far you've come.
Thank you so much.
All right, so we're approaching the last part of the podcast where we jump into some Syrian culture. So I was wondering if you have any dishes or any like food or snacks from Syria that you really loved eating, or a dish that's like very traditional from Syria.
Syrian shawarma. Oh my god, I love Syrian shawarma. Some restaurant they would add, especially here, I don't trust shawarma places like fully, but Syrian shawarma is simple. Garlic sauce, pickles, the chicken, and a touch of pomegranate molasses. And that's it. Any talk about rice or like veggies, it's not tolerated for me. There's the original shawarma in Scarborough, and I think it has location in Mississauga. We've tried it so far. We ordered from there, and it has been good. A new branch opened for Shawarma Royal beside the campus. That was really good. I had to visit it with my friend right away.
Okay.
It's way better than the other places. So yes, I visited Syria in 2023, and I've
Oh,
tried the real Syrian shawarma. But of course, if I compare it to like back home shawarma, it wouldn't taste as good as back home shawarma. But still, for here, comparing to other places, it's still good.
okay, interesting. I will definitely have to check that out. What about like any other foods or anything that you really enjoy?
There's a traditional meal. I think Syrian very well known with this meal, and it's called kibbeh. And it's kind of like a granite weight, but it's stuffed with meats, walnuts, and onion. It's really nice. It's really delicious. I chose like a meal that is not in other countries. It's like pure Syrian. Yeah, it's very delicious.
What about cultural clothing?
Well, comparing to other like culture, I would say, and other countries, we do not have a specific or traditional clothes that is well known. Maybe in other like cities, like outside of Damascus, there is some
Mm-hmm.
traditional city I'm not aware of, but it's not like, for example, a country like India who they wear their traditional clothes in the street till this moment. No, we don't have such a thing.
So, what is normal in Syria?
I think same as here. The only thing that is very like considerably Syrian women mostly wear white hijab. I did not
Okay.
find that in other like countries, but
Okay. What about in like Syrian weddings?
Syrian wedding it's women only and men celebration kind of like
Mm-hmm.
separate after men party ends. The groom will like just go to the a women only like party room where all women just like put their hijab on, and then the groom enter and with the bride, and then
Okay.
like after women celebrate and dance and like have some like ice cream cake and
Ooh,
juice, and
yummy.
yeah, after like women only party room celebration come to an end, the groom arrive and then they would dance together, a special dance with like a family members, stuff like that, and they would give the bride a piece of gold. It might be like necklace or like bracelet. It depends from family to another, whatever they decided to like give the bride.
Very fancy. Is it just like Western dresses basically at the wedding?
Yes, yes.
Oh,
So
okay,
that
okay.
white nice dress.
Yes. I feel like
Yeah,
I've seen like videos of like Arab weddings in general online. Yes, they're wearing a typical dress or like a white bridal dress, but it's so much more fancy. I don't know. I feel like weddings here, they go for like more simple
simple.
clothes.
Yeah, 100%. Especially for hair and makeup.
Mm-hmm.
We
Oh
don't
my
know
god, it's
simple.
always
Simple is
like
not our texture
so
when it
like
comes to weddings.
definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
And what about Syrian entertainment? Is there like any artists that you know who are Syrian? Maybe some famous shows or movies from there that you like?
So I would say in the Middle East, Egyptian drama and like show in general is number one. Number two is Syrian TV shows and drama. Like
Okay.
Egyptian and Syrian, like even I've met a lot of Moroccan friends, which their Arabic is very hard to understand, by the way, even for Arabic speaker people. She would tell me and speak to me in my own delicate just because she watched a Syrian series which is called Bab al Haram. It just reflects the old life of people in Damascus during the French occupying and how like each neighborhood like treated each other and a lot of juicy drama happening. So
Oh,
that show
wow.
was very popular. It aired during Ramadan, month of Ramadan, and after like Taraweeh prayer, you would hear everyone watching going through the alleys of the
Oh,
neighborhood,
wow.
and you would hear like the sound of the intro of the series, and so we had to run like, oh my god, it started, let's run guys. A
So
lot
it's
of
called.
season were like out, but I would say no, first two seasons were the best.
Is it like still
Like
on
all
air?
series. I think last Ramadan they aired like I don't know 11th season. I stopped track like the number of season
Oh.
because like so this show was aired before like Revolution starts, so it had like nice message and everything. Even like the events happen in Syria reflects on entertainments like this drama. It got affected by whatever happened in my country, so it was very fake, and a lot of Syrian people stopped watching it. But I would say like the first two seasons were hits.
So it's like a little mix of everything, kind of. It's got some history going on, some drama.
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
okay. What about like any artists, like any songs that are very famous that are Syrian or any singers?
We have a very famous singer. She's very well known. in the Middle East. Why people like her? Because she stand up with Syrian people against the regime, and she fled out of Syria despite all the threats that she received. And a lot of people respect her, and she actually like herself was like, even let's not talk about her standing with the revolution, but she has a very good potential. And even before revolution, even the president would like support her because she was a very good talent. Her name is Asala Nasri. I'm proud that she is from Syria.
All right, Sedra, I just want to thank you so much again for coming on the show and representing the Syrian community.
Thank you
I
so
mean,
much for having me.
of course, you're incredibly brave. I admire you so much. Everything you've been through and the way you're still so positive about everything, and you're not afraid to, take the time you need just to do what you need to do. And I feel like I had learned some life lessons right now from this conversation.
Oh, that's amazing.
So before we go, I was just wondering, can you teach me how to say bye in Syrian Arabic?
We say it in a different way, but I'll teach you words we say.
Okay.
مع السلامة.
مع السلامة?
There's no like E at the end. You're just like,
Oh.
you know?
Wait, okay. مع السلام.
مع السلامة. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay. Hold on, let me try
I want
again.
to teach you like the right
yeah, no,
way.
teach it to me properly. مع السلامة.
That's a Damascus Syrian proper way of saying مع السلامة. Yes.
Okay, and that means like bye?
Like I would say like be safe, something like that, because like we say bye when like to end our conversation, and I don't want to like teach you like westernized words that we used.
Oh, okay. So مع السلامة is...
Yeah, so like be safe.
Well, Sedra, again, I want to say thank you and مع السلامة.
مع السلامة.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Hand the Mic Over. As always, be sure to check out our Instagram at Hand the Mic Over to find more pictures from today's episode, and don't forget to follow us on YouTube and Spotify at Hand the Mic Over.